we don't get together like we'd like to, at least you've shown us a way that we can come together with you, and thank heaven for all of us that we have Pastor Jim and Christy that encourage this activity, because I know of other churches that are not. And so give them a special attaboy.
Okay.
And thank you for all we have. Thank you for this wonderful day. And just thank you for everything, because you did it.
Amen.
Amen.
Nicely done.
Nicely done, nicely done. Yeah, I was,
Thank you.
as we were setting up today, I was running down the stairs and it was frantic, we're getting things together, and I said, I love this.
You're a barefoot preacher as you aspire to be.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, and, well, actually, these shoes
Huh?
are very warm.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
really, they're only cloth and
Yeah.
rubber, but, ugh.
When I have cold feet, I go to his side of the bed, so. His says hot feet. Oh, Gary's on twice, okay.
Gary, your twin signed on.
Yes.
Very cool.
That's okay. You're
That's
fine.
all right. We'll have you on twice. So very interesting chapters. Now,
Woo!
when you start in the Old Testament, you never know what you're going to get. But we get some very interesting stuff today. Some really interesting things. So, once again, in Deuteronomy, we're going over the Ten Commandments. So, as we read it, you'll be able to see some of the commandments. Sometimes it'll be obvious, sometimes it won't be obvious. So, in verses 1 through 4, what do you guys think is the commandment they're referring to? In verses 1 through 4.
Thou shalt not steal.
Right, yeah, thou shalt not
Or
steal.
covet.
Yeah, you know, nowadays, or even for a long time, it was losers, weepers, finders, keepers, right?
Yep.
And that's how people function now. But God's saying no. If you see somebody's animal and it's wandering around, it's not yours.
Right.
Take it back to the owner. Don't ignore it, because like Goldie says, you're stealing.
Yep. It's not yours.
If you don't return it, it's stealing. If it's not yours, you stole it. If you see a fellow Israelite's donkey or ox falling on the road, same thing, don't ignore it. Help it out. Help the guy out. So it's the 8th commandment, thou shalt not steal. So, verse 5 isn't really a commandment, but what do you think it's going against?
Is this touching on like cross-dressing and?
Right, transvestites, cross-dressing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Yes.
what do you think it's going against?
homosexuality.
Well, that and what does that go against? Like I said, it's not really a commandment.
God made man in his own image.
Right.
Oh.
God's design was He created man and woman. That's it. And the way you're created, that's the way you should stay.
What was that old thing about God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve? Remember that saying years ago?
Yeah.
Now, because of this, is it like some faiths, women wear dresses only?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it.
You know, there's some religion, like certain faiths that women can only wear a dress.
Well, yeah, and if you think back to this, even the 60s, you know,
I wore
when
dress.
all of us were growing up,
Yeah.
women didn't wear pants.
Right?
You know, it just wasn't done. You know, even in the 70s, was it 70s? No. Yeah, 70s you were in Catholic school, right?
Yeah.
They didn't let you wear pants.
No, I had a jumper.
We could wear pants. I remember at my school anyway, we had to wear dresses to school obviously every day. and we could wear pants in the wintertime under our dresses.
Correct,
Just to walk, like if it was cold weather, and we had to take them off though before school actually started.
correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when that bell rang, they had to come off, and I got sent home from school one day. Christy, if I remember this, remember skirts?
Yes,
Shorts were?
yes.
They were like shorts, but they had like a flap across them. It's like, I got sent home and got written up for wearing a skirt one day.
Like culottes.
Yeah.
It was serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big deal, so I never got in trouble.
I remember when they passed the law, though, that we could finally wear pants to school. And then I started third grade at the Catholic school. So that was it. I could not wear pants there.
Right, yeah.
The nuns, it was part of the uniform, so.
And I went to a Catholic high school, and they actually measured the girls' dresses.
Yeah, You had to kneel?
Right
You
now it
kneeled?
sounds terrible, because they would march the girls up to the front of the class, and somebody would measure their dress.
Had to be a certain length, like above the knee or something, wasn't it?
Hey, Mary Lou, yeah, it had to be,
hi.
something tells me 4 inches, but that seems kind of high
Was it
for
4 inches?
for the 70s.
Yeah, that might be
Seems kinda
pushing
high.
it a little.
And I did not go to a progressive school. Not at all. So, yeah, God's design is perfect, so he's, Deuteronomy says, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this. Okay, once again, verses 6 and 7, it's not a commandment, but we've seen this before. In verse 7, you may take the young, but be sure to let the mother go. Now, this makes sense for a couple reasons. One, if you eat the mother and her young, you're never going to get any more birds from that nest. No more eggs, no more birds. But there's another reason for this. If you eat the mother and the young, you're eating the life giver. I'm sorry, this is verse, Deuteronomy chapter 22, verses 6 and 7.
Okay, all right, I was correct.
It's just a weird thing to see in there.
Yeah, but remember, God is all about life.
Right.
So whenever we talk about death, that goes against God's design and God's wish for us. So the mother is the life giver, so we can't ever eat the whole thing. The whole thing. Let's see here. Yeah, this is a unique one.
Yeah.
Verse 8. So here, they're saying, back in the day, they all had flat roofs. And they did a lot of living up there, for one, to cool off at night, to get out of the house, get the breeze, and it was almost like their front porch. So they'd all climb up on the roof, so the law was, okay, put a railing around that, so people don't fall off. Because we know if somebody falls off and they accidentally die, the family members could kill that person because you murdered my family member. And that person would have to take off, the actually innocent person of the accidental death would have to take off to go to the city of refuge to be safe. So God's saying, just put a railing around the roof, will you? So everybody's safe. God is very logical.
Totally.
It's interesting that America's adopted a lot of these rules, like putting a fence around the pool, swimming pool.
Yeah, good point, Gary. Put a fence around your swimming pool, so no one sneaks in on a hot summer day and drowns,
Right.
because then you're liable for their death. Very good point, Gary. And that's why people buy umbrella insurance policies, so they get extra coverage.
We did.
Yeah. Basically, because if somebody falls on your property and you don't have this umbrella coverage, they can sue you. Or if you shovel your walk and it gets icy, you're sued. You can get sued for everything.
We don't do that now.
It's about $200 a year.
Yeah, and it's cheap. It's cheap. It makes sense. Do not plant 2 kinds of seed in your vineyard, or the fruit of the vineyard will be defiled. Now, to us, this doesn't make sense.
Well, up in Michigan, they have fields that are different. So to me, it doesn't make sense because it's the vineyard. But when we go to the wineries, this one is these grapes, this one is those grapes, but,
Well, research tells me the reason they did this is because if you plant two different types of seeds, one might grow taller than the other and block out the other plant. So then one dies and the other one grows. So it's actually logical. So once again, God gives us a ruling that makes total sense. You know, think back to circumcision on the 8th day. We all go, why did the Jewish people pick the 8th day? And then when you do your research, we find out that science tells us that the little boy's clotting mechanism, I guess you could say mechanism, doesn't work until after the 8th day. If you circumcised a little baby boy before the 8th day, he would bleed out.
not
So-
nowadays, but yeah, back
Yeah,
then.
back in the day, yeah,
Right.
God in His wisdom said, wait till the 8th day.
Yeah.
Totally amazing. Totally amazing.
Well, and then back to the seed thing, don't things like cross-pollinate and then you actually lose the original, whatever it is, because it turns into something different?
Well, that's a good point, Goldie. That would be another reason why God wouldn't want us to do that, because His design was, this is this and this is this.
Right.
But then again, God gives us the intelligence to do some cross-pollination.
Yeah,
And in some cases, it's good.
right.
Verse 10, again, sounds like,
Oh, no, this makes so sense. I know this one.
okay, go ahead.
Well, because they're not even. An ox and a donkey pull a different weight.
Okay,
And that's why we even say to young people, they're not evenly yoked.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
we've used that term to our daughter so much, and she's
Because-
getting it.
Right, you have an ox and a donkey, you'd have a circular field, right? Because the ox would pull the poor donkey around, and all you'd have is, I guess that's where crop circles come from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Pretty design.
Practical thought,
Yeah,
to own two ox, they'd have to be pretty rich.
oh, that's a good point too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So it might have been done, just get the field done, unless they borrowed another ox.
yeah, that poor donkey,
He's in for a long day.
yeah. So that's where Joshua Deere came from, right? He started renting out oxens.
You mean John Deere?
No, Joshua Deere.
Joshua
Yeah,
Deere.
because it had to be.
Gosh, okay, never mind.
Never mind, yeah, on loan, the rental. Okay, that one flopped.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Do not wear clothes of wool and linen woven together.
Oh, because they wash differently.
Yeah, they wash differently.
Right.
and I didn't, I read this and it's like, oh, okay. But then I had actually researched it, but then you talk to a woman and she would know, I
Right.
wash differently.
One will shrink up really bad, and yeah,
Right, and then they would pull, right?
the wool won't wash well.
Yeah, they'd separate, and then you'd have ruined two pieces of cloth. Totally logical.
This one I don't know about.
Yeah, tassels on the four corners of the cloak you wear. Anybody know about this one?
Is that the phylacteries that Orthodox Jews wear?
Okay, the phylacteries, that was the thing that they
Oh,
put on
that's
their
up
forehead?
here.
Yeah. Similar. That's what Orthodox Jews still wear this. That's
Yeah.
to remind them of their requirements to God. I don't know why they're for, but anyway, the tassels, I guess they would always see them, and it would remind them of their obligations to God.
Is that a yarmulke that they wear, Jews wear now?
That's the skull.
Yeah. Now, there's no tassels on that ever, right?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
And the skull cap is really, they use it for prayer, and Orthodox Jews wear it all the time. What did you say, Gary?
The Sadducees and Pharisees had garments that had longer tassels, just to look more important.
Oh, God.
Yeah, to show how holy they were.
Yeah, longer
Do you
tassels?
think Jesus had tassels on his
Nope.
clothing?
You know, I wonder. I'm sure he did because he was a devout Jew, and we just never see him.
I haven't seen him in The Chosen.
So the woman that had the blood issue touched his robe or touched his tassel and his heel?
Yeah, she touched, everything I've seen, every scripture I've seen, she touched the hem of his robe.
Yeah.
So,
It could have been a tassel.
could have been a tassel. I'll have to check the Hebrew, see what that says.
Is there any sect of Judaism that still wears the 4 tassels?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
The tassels, is that what they call tefillin? T-E-F-I-L-L?
I think so.
Yeah.
Chris, could you Google that real quick?
Sure.
Let's see.
How do you spell it?
T-E-F-I-L-L-I-N. I've read The Chosen and The Promise and a whole bunch of other books like that.
Let's see here. Yeah, I didn't put that in the footnotes,
Way back when I
but it
was.
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
I think the prayer shawl is called the tallit,
Delete.
and they have tassels on it. And isn't there a thing in maybe Exodus or Genesis where they're walking along and they intertwine the tassels in their fingers and they're praying and doing stuff, I think.
You know what? It came up Teflon. Hold on. T-E-F what?
T-E-F-I-L-L-I-N. N is in Nancy. T-E-F is in Frank.
Okay, Teflon.
I'm
It is a Jewish, okay, it's a set of small black leather boxes
See, I don't know
containing
that.
scrolls of parchment inscribed with verses from the Torah. Teflon is worn by observant adult Jews during weekday morning prayers. Those are the little boxes you talked about, Jim.
I thought that was a flat tree.
No,
PH.
no. No, it's a Teflon.
Oh, okay.
T-E-F-I-L-L-I-N.
I'll check. I thought it's a flat tree.
Oh, here, but there is another name for something. Okay, a tallit, T-A-L-L-I-T, is worn daily. It's a garment for the service of God intended to connect them. So there is something else that they wear, but it could be. Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Oh, they have them for sale here.
T-A-L-L-I-T?
That's what she just.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Okay, so the tassels are called tallit?
I guess.
Well, this is tassels are attached to the 4 corners of the Jewish prayer shawls. And then it has parentheses, tallit, worn in the synagogue on the corners of so-called small tallit.
Yeah, tallit.
Tallit? Oh, okay.
Tallit.
Have you ever seen the movie The Chosen, based on the book The Chosen by Chaim Potok? It actually shows these people dancing and doing different things.
Okay, so they're showing it as the thing that comes around, the shawl.
So they're talking about the shawl, yeah?
Yes, with the tassels at the end of the shawl.
Okay.
That's what they're showing.
Well, okay. And in verse 12, it talks about tassels on the 4 corners of the cloak you wear.
Right.
Okay.
It looks
'Cause
like for
I've seen it on
prayer.
a belt also.
Yeah, it looks like it's for prayer.
Okay.
And you have to be a man, of course,
Well, yeah,
to wear any of those
Yes.
things.
because early on, the women weren't allowed in temple.
That's right.
Well, and it's not just the box they wear, it is a leather that they have wrapped around their arms.
Yeah.
It's a
Remember,
whole,
You're supposed to bind them on your hand, your arms.
they have them for
and
sale
your-
in here, someone's selling them.
Because they still wear them.
Yeah, yeah, how much are they? Let's see.
All right, so now we're getting to one of Natalie's favorite sections.
Where is she?
I don't know, just gotta start coming. You're missing all this good stuff.
Wow, some of those things are $200.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All right, so,
wow.
if a man takes a wife and after sleeping with her dislikes her and slanders her and gives her a bad name, saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find proof of her virginity, then the young man's father and mother shall bring to the town elders at the gate proof that she was a virgin. And the father will say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin, but here is the proof of my daughter's virginity. Then her parents shall display the cloth before the elders of the town. And the elders shall take the man and punish him. Yeesh.
Wow.
Yep. So there's so much written about this. I wasn't going to print it out, but the things that the parents used to have to go through. Sometimes there was actually a public first sex, so people could see and have proof. Yeah, it's really weird.
Well, it's like the Scottish, we just,
Yeah. Yep.
There's societies that would, in ancient times, different societies would have to have witnesses for consummation and all that.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it was in a movie we saw.
Just,
Well, they were right outside the door.
yeah, Gary?
It makes you realize how important the relationship between the man and the woman is in God's eyes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And, you know,
Where 40% of the marriages, first marriages break up, 60% of the second marriages, and 75% of the third marriages.
wow. Yeah, well, it goes back to Genesis, how God tells us this is why a man shall leave his mother and father and become one with the woman. So God says, you're no longer two, you are one person. So he means to never be divided. So be real careful who you get married to. Because we know divorces happen for one reason or another. So it makes...
Somewhere is swift with the meaning of marriage and transvestites.
Yeah,
It's pretty clear in the Bible, but it's overlooked.
yeah, it's, you know, well, I'm gonna go off on a tangent here, but everyone has a right to get married, but rights are not discussed in the Bible. In the Bible, what's discussed is God's law. And I tell numerous people I have nothing against gays getting married, because legally they have the right, but I can't see anything in the Bible that permits it. So that means I can't do it. Because the Bible is my baseline. Do they have the right in America to do that? Sure they do, but that's a legal right. It's not a question of faith, and it's not a question of God's law, because God is really clear, like Gary said. Men and women, and marriage is forever.
That'd be
So, but somehow people misinterpret the Bible, or they interpret the Bible differently. I don't know how they can do that, but they do. Gary? What?
Or don't read it.
Or don't read it, yeah. Or don't read it. Did you guys know that there's actually a Bible out there, a version of the Bible called the Queen James Bible?
Oh, no.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And you can expect what's in there.
Okay, we're recording.
The verses are twisted.
Well, man wrote it and interpreted.
Yeah, I showed that to one of my seminary professors, and she couldn't believe it. She was a liberal, and she couldn't believe that it was actually written.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, it's out there.
About 4 years ago, they wrote it.
Yep. So, the guy who slanders his wife, he has to pay the father. Now, why would he have to pay the father of the young woman?
Would that be a dowry? No, he would pay.
The slanderer would have to pay the father of the girl